We've arrived on site, we've got out our kit, so we've got our machine, we've got our water butt, we've got our hoses, we've got everything we're going to need. So first things first, we're going to fill our water butt up using our hose pipe. So all our water butts come supplied with a ball valve system in the top, and then we've got a geeker connection down the bottom with our water hose, 3/4 inch to get a good flow in. So we're going to connect on our water hose onto the back here, twist it round, switch it on, that'll automatically start filling up and it will stop when it's full. So throughout the day that'll just keep topping itself up. All our water hoses come fitted with what we call a moody claw. That's adjusted by this. This winds the seal out and locks it onto the other object. So we've already done that on the bottom to try and stop it leaking. We're also going to do that when we connect it up to the machine in a little while. So we'll just leave that filling. We want that nice and full, ready for us to start. We're going to come over to our machine. We're going to open up our top motor using the clamps. If you ever do undo this, this will stop the machine working at all. So even if you left it plugged in, you're in the middle of a spray, for some reason someone unplugged this, stops. So take that off. We're going to open our motor guard. Open that up. That's going to allow us to be able to get inside the machine. We've now got to insert our rotor and stator. This is our rotor. This is the part where the product passes through. The stator stays living around the front here, on the front of the machine. Changeable to different options. We run them with a standard 26. There's a 13, a 30, and also a 32 for different applications. This is designed to be put in and took out at the end of every day. It's to stop it sticking. It's only a single phase machine. We don't want them sticking in there. We're going to use what's supplied with the machine. This is a silicone based spray. It doesn't affect the rubber, and we also sell this in different manufacturers in our shop. So all we're going to do, give it a quick spray, not too much. I'm then going to use my arm to start with. I'm going to come down, all the way down, quite simply start winding in as far as you can. So far. We're then going to take our mixing shaft. We're going to line this up with our rotor in the bottom, locked in like so. I'm going to take our tool for winding the rotor and stator in. I'm going to lock that over and we're going to start winding. I'm going to stop there. Then going to take our drive. Obviously this moves. So wherever this ends up, obviously we've got to make sure it locates. I'm in a horizontal position. I'm going to bring it around to there. I'm going to make sure my clamp's up. I'm going to bring it over, make sure it lines up as it comes down, all the way down off. We're then going to use our clamp just to lock that down. We're going to take our plug, we're going to plug it back on the side of the machine, locking it on, stopping us from opening that during spraying. We're then going to connect our water butt up. So as I said, we filled this up throughout the morning. I'm just going to put a slight kink in the hose so that it doesn't flush everywhere. I'm going to come down, as I say, lock that on, give it a little rotate on there, that just locks that on. We're then going to make sure that twist comes out of that pipe. All we're then going to do is open that up, just to let it come through. That's bled that part of the system. We're then going to get our power lead, which at the other end is plugged into our normal 13 amp 3-pin socket in the house. I'm going to take that, and this is located just above where we connected our water supply on. Okay. I'm then going to come round to the main controls of our machine, down to our main board. As you can see, described in the button, we've got off, shutdown, and obviously green. If the emergency stop button is in, we just twist to release, and then we press our button. This comes up as red because the machine is currently off at the moment. When we are actually spraying and the machine's in motion, it will be green. If for some reason it has a fault and it's flashing orange, or it comes to orange, we need to shut the machine down, leave it 2 minutes and restart. We then come round to this side, get a bucket, we've got a water pipe. On here we've got a few basic controls. So we've got wet or dry products. We're going to be using dry products today. We've got our controls for switching the machine on, switching the machine off, water prime. To use the water prime button, we need to put the water pump itself onto manual. We've also got the speed control down the bottom here from 0 up to 10. We're going to set a number 5. I think that's plenty. We're going to switch our water pump over to manual. We're going to turn our switch. Water will start bleeding through the system. We can then come down, we can adjust this to set it to where we want it to be. I'm going to go for 300 to start today, using this tap here. That gives us 300. Just there. We're then going to let that off. We're going to come round. We're going to connect on our water pipe to the front of the machine, like so, onto the top port, because we want as much mixing time as possible. Then going to come round back to our prime switch. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will have injected a bit of water into our primer pot so that we can now make sure that our machine is ready to go today. We'll leave our water pump. All we're going to do is press the on button. Start turning, pumping water out the front. Come back down. We're going to stop our machine. We're going to prime again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until we get about halfway up. I don't know if you guys can see. It's about halfway up the black part at the back of the mixing chamber. Okay. Now we've done that, we can switch our water pump back to automatic. This now means whenever we start the machine or stop the machine, the water pump will go and start applying water into the mixing chamber. We're now ready to start connecting up some of our test pipes and our hoses. Come with your kit, you're going to have a reducer to reduce down the size of your hose. We're going to put this into the front. To do that, we need to open these ears all the way up, slide it in, and lock these down. You shouldn't be needing to use a hammer on any of these ears. If you are, it means there's dirt behind the rubber seal that's inside. Pop on our little test pipe. Like so. I'm going to put our little test pipe in through the side of my bucket. It just means then that I can have my hands free to be able to do what I want to do. We've primed that machine halfway up the back of this pot. That's going to act as a water cushion, so when the first powder falls down, it stops it going in and blocking our rotor and stator. We're then going to take our bag of machine applicable product, whether that be a monocouche, a base coat, or various other products that are available on the market. So we're going to pop that bag on top. Give it a wiggle. You can see a small amount of dust has fallen in, not a lot. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to start the machine, and with confidence, as soon as the mixing shaft turns, split that bag in. I can then come round and adjust my water while my product is coming out my test pipe. So in a movement, like I say, we come along, we press go, start turning. Slowly coming down. quite happy with that. It's a bit stiff. So I'll just make it a smidge wetter just so it comes through my hose lovely. Come back up a little bit. So now we've set our product, we're going to clean off this end of the hose, making sure that there's no more coming through. We've obviously got to send it down our main delivery pipe now. The machine comes with 15 metres as standard. I've got a big old bucket, you can use the hose pipe or whatever you want to do. I'm just going to pour a small amount. Of water down our hose. I'm going to take the little test pipe, rather than disconnecting this like you would have to do with the ones with the machine, we're then just going to stick that on straight in. And again, trying to avoid any kinks in our hose, we're going to grab our air line. We're going to connect that down here on the front of the machine. Same again, just twist and lock it on. At this stage, just so we're ready, we're going to make a choice. We're going to get our spray gun. We're going to have this where we're going to be doing it. And we're going to be making the choice between nozzles. So, both rubber spray caps, one being a 12mm here, one being a 14. Everybody's different. There is 10mm and there is 16mm depending on your application. I'm going to use the 14 today. I'm going to put that on the gun. Twist it around a couple of times. We're looking at our air pipe. This is a 14mm cap, about 14mm back plus an extra couple of mil. So that's probably about right there. But obviously we can set this with the sound of the render once it's coming through. I'm going to bring our delivery hose. I've popped another bag on top of the machine as we're running low. All I'm going to do is I'm going to start the machine and I'm going to put that bag in. So all we're going to do is flick on, use that goes again, pop that bag like that, let that empty itself into the machine. What we're keeping an eye on is our pressure gauge down the front here. We don't want this to increase anything really past 20 bar. If it does start rocketing up, we've got a blockage. We would have to stop the machine, whether that be from hitting the emergency stop button or switching the machine off down there. So we're just waiting for our product to come through. Here's our water. And here's our product coming through now. So all we're going to do, we're going to go back to the tube. We're going to go stop on our stop switch, so we're back to the off position. I'm going to take our gun. I'm just going to wait for this to finish bleeding out slowly. You want to give it a bit of a wipe it off. Just wait for that. There we go, that's stopped coming through now. Just if we leave product on the end, it just makes it harder to get your gun on. Ears open, hose fitting in, close them ears up on that spray gun, connect our air lines together and close our gun valve. Now when we switch the machine on, there'll be a very sudden go, but then the machine will stop. You'll all be in control at the gun. What we're going to do, we're going to leave our gun here. We're going to come back. That bag's now emptied itself due to the vibration of the machine. We're just going to switch our machine on. And that's the machine now waiting for us to open this gun here. Grab a fresh bucket. We open our lance. before, adjusting your air pipe really far forward. Just get that nice sound. Too far back and you get that blobby sound. So nice. And when you stop, the machine will stop, pressure will bleed out of the hose. You're now ready to go up and spray your wool, just like this. So we finished spraying, we've stopped at the bottom of the wool, that's us done. What we're hoping is that whoever's on the machine hasn't rammed us full of material. We're down to a nice sensible level, so we're not going to be wasting too much gear. We do get a little bit of build up on this machine at the back, but you can shake it about a bit to get that to come down. All we're going to do is we're going to start the machine into the stick or into a bucket, just to empty out as much powder as we can. As you notice, the speed has slowed down. That means the product has actually stopped coming through, and that's just the water off of the rotor and stain now. We're going to listen. Let that speed up. We're just going to stop that, keep that pointing well into the bucket. What we're now going to do is to make everything safe. We're going to come back to our machine. We're going to switch off. Then we're going to come back to our gun. We're going to open our air to release the air pressure. Let that out. We're going to undo our wing nut. We're going to take our air pipe out. Disconnected. We're going to take our cap off. We're going to wash this separately in a bucket of water, or vice versa. That's that off. I'm just going to then poke that through the side of my bucket. Keep your cap, make sure you don't lose it. Included in your kit, you've got your washout tool. When you're using this, just before we start using it, it gets located down here. Yeah, I always struggle to sort of put my hose on and clamp my ears closed. So what I do is I get my fitting, get the sponge ball, I poke that in from the back, so the sponge ball's inside there. We're going to make sure our pressure gauge is back down to 0, really important. We're going to have one hand on the hose, and at arm's length we're going to release this. We're at 0, but we still don't believe it. We're then going to release these ears. So keeping hold of it, opening up, and then slowly drawing this off of the fitting. Okay, we're going to take our fitting, we're going to put that in. I'm going to lock them closed. I'm going to put that onto there, like so. We're going to go round to our controls. We're going to go back to our water switch, and we're going to put that back onto on, so we're back on setup and wash out onto the hand operation. We're then slowly going to open up our valve, not all the way, there's no need, just open it up to about there. We then come round to our hose. Got that. Come around. Shut the valve. for good practice, I always like to do it twice. Put that back in, lock that back on. This time it should be clean water. Making sure what comes out the end of our gun is nice and clean. So we open that up. As you can see, that means our hose is nice and clean. Tiny little bit right at the end. And that's your hose clear. Come back round, just switch this off. We don't want to leave our pump running for long periods of time when we're not using it, hence the automatic position. We're going to take our fitting out, we're going to put it back in its storage locker. We're going to take our test pipe off. I've now washed my test pipe, but I'm going to use this to wash my machine. If I'm on a job where it's really clean, so on and so forth. We're going to put this one back on the machine, like so. Just going to stick it over a bucket. Our hose pipe that we've been using to clean our water butt, fill our water butt all day. I'm just going to remove it. Now at this point the inside of this machine can get wet because we're not going to use it again until the following day, so it's going to have plenty of time to dry. Obviously we need to make sure we wash off all material, otherwise once you've added water it will set hard before next time, making it harder to clean your machine. So all we're going to do is we're going to turn the machine on to go. So we're going to come around to our control panel. We've put our water pump back to automatic, our speed stays the same. All we're going to do is click it on. Going to start hosing down, cleaning off as much excess material as we can. Obviously if you've got one of the triggers on the hose pipe, lovely. Come round, just going to stop our machine. So we've stopped the machine. Obviously we still do have a small amount of residue in here. With any machine application we're going to make a small amount of mess. You can keep hosing down and keep pumping, or you can come along, you can disconnect your little your test pipe and your washout pipe. I'm going to disconnect that, just for good measures. We're going to take our thing on our wall, we're going to put our water pump back on. I'm just going to put that in, and obviously we're just going to give this a wash, due to obviously we've got some dirt in there. Give it a quick rinse, pop that in there. Put that on, fire it through. That's that little pipe, just to make sure we're looking after it. We're going to switch our water pump back off, and now we're going to take our machine apart. As I said before, as soon as we unplug this, you now look down, the machine's now dead, doesn't do nothing, okay, because this plug has been unplugged. We're going to open up, take our tool that we used this morning. I'm going to pop it on there, and then we're just going to wind that rotor out. Mixing shaft. As you can see, we need to give that a clean into a bucket. There is a wire brush in your cleaning tool. If it's gone a bit hard, obviously to hose that down. The rotor I've wound most of the way up. So put your hand in, bring your rotor out. As you can see, it's going to need a good rinse, same as your mixing shaft. Unless you've been in there with a good powerful hose, you can see that we have a build up down the bottom here. Looking through here, you can see this will go hard depending on what product you've been using during the day. You just need to clean this off. We don't want to be leaving it on there. So you can either scoop out what you can, or obviously you can run your hose pipe down into here, flushing this area out, making sure it's clean all the way through. All we're going to do is make sure we give our machine a good rinse down. We've now got the rotor and stator out, so this is running out onto the floor. Just making sure everything is clear up the top. Once we're happy with how clear it is up the top, we're going to go round to our outlet coupling down the bottom here. We're just going to make sure we give it a good blast up in there. Let it run out, just to make sure. We're then going to disconnect our blanking cap. We're going to take our main water feed hose off for the second. Just going to get our hose, could be a normal hose pipe, just poke it on there, give it a bit of a blast through. We're then going to do the same again up here, just to make sure then both of them holes are clear. And all we're going to do is make sure that we haven't put any excess product back inside our mixing chamber. So you've finished spraying with your MixPro 28 to the point that you've disconnected your power supply. You're all finished. It's winter time. We're going to disconnect our hose from the machine. Obviously unlocking it first, twisting round. Take that off. Remove your water supply. We're then going to open up this drain tap, which is going to drain our pump down. Underneath here, you can see, I'm going to go around the other side. You're going to come round, there's a little drain tap on the bottom of your water filter. Just going to drain that bit, and then right round on this side. All we're going to do is put our water hose up in the air slightly, and we're going to open this one just to make sure that all points are empty.